In Math Lesson 2.7, we'll be learning about units of time. As always, you will need your whiteboard marker, eraser, and your math journal. Always have those things handy, whether you're meeting with me in a small group or working on your lesson. So on your whiteboard, I would like you to write the number 432,756. Go ahead and write the number in the yellow box. Then next to it, I just want you to write the value of the digit 3. So go ahead on your whiteboard and write the value of the digit 3. And then right after it, tell me which digit is in the tens place. So this goes kind of back to our Unit 1 math test, the difference between the value and the place name. Go ahead and write the value of the digit 3 and which digit is in the tens place. So the value of the 3 is 30,000. I look here, it's in the 10,000s. I replace everything after it with a 0. Which digit is in the tens place would be the 5. Okay, go ahead and erase that. You're going to write another number. Go ahead and write the number 172,908. Next to it, you don't have to write the question, but just tell me the value of the digit 9 and which digit is in the hundred thousands place. Please just write the answer to this. Don't write the question. What is the value of the 9 and which digit is in the hundred thousands? So the value of the 9 is 900. And which digit is in the hundred thousands? Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s would be the 1. Remember to do this with me. Go ahead and erase your whiteboard and write down the number 530,175. 530,175. Tell me the value of the 7 and what digit is in the 10,000s place. Don't write down the question, just write down the answer. What is the value of the digit 7 and which digit is in the 10,000s place? So the value of the 7 is 70. And the digit in the 10,000s place is 3. Go ahead and erase. We're going to be working in just a minute in our math journal talking about units of time. So on the right-hand side, we have a clock that you might see in a classroom. We also have a chart that converts minutes to seconds and hours into minutes. So just be aware of what those numbers represent. So if I'm looking at 3 minutes, I would say 3 minutes is the same as 180 seconds. 7 minutes would be the same as 420 seconds. There are 60 seconds in every minute. The second table here shows hours to minutes. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So if someone said you're in school, not Portage, but if you were in the classroom, you would be in school for 7 hours, which is the same thing as 420 minutes. So we'll be using this timeline here as we work through our math journal pages. But before we begin that, I want you to think about it. Does it take you 2 minutes or 120 seconds to brush your teeth? So let's look up at this one right here. If we look at 2 minutes, it'd be the same thing as 120 seconds. So the question says, does it take you 2 minutes or 120 seconds to brush your teeth, or what you're supposed to brush your teeth? It's actually the same amount of time. It's just a different way to say it. Does it take you closer to 1 hour or 600 minutes to clean your room? Well, maybe some of you it might take, but here is 1 hour and here is 600 minutes, which would be the same thing as 10 hours. Even the messiest room, I don't think would take 10 hours. So it would be closer to probably 1 hour, maybe a little bit longer. What other ways do we use hours, minutes, and seconds? I think about when I run races. When I've run a marathon, the fastest I've run it is in 4 hours and 12 minutes and 47 seconds. I might use it to let someone know I'll be there in 20 minutes. Or I have 3 minutes to complete this video and then get it uploaded. So we use time always. Time is very important in our society. What's the longest unit of time you can think of? Days, years, decades? What's the smallest amount of time? I think of the Olympics and Michael Phelps, who won, I believe, a race in 1,000th of a second. How can we use the measurement scale to find out how many minutes are in 3 hours? So we're looking here for hours and converting it to minutes. So if we find 3 hours, we know that 180 minutes is the same as 3 hours. So we can use this measurement scale. We're going to go ahead into our math journal on page 49. Journal page 49. At the top of journal page 49, you're going to see that we're going to use these same measurement scales to fill in the tables. Notice that the top one is minutes and seconds, and the bottom one is converting hours to minutes. We did something similar to this when we converted yards to feet and feet to inches. So just remember there are 60 minutes in an hour, so we can multiply by 60. But I also can use this measurement scale right here since I'm working hours to minutes. So 1 hour would be the same thing as 60 minutes. 1 times 60 is 60. If I look at 2 hours, is the same thing as 120 minutes. Continuing along, 3 hours would be the same thing as 180 minutes, which would be the same thing as multiplying by 60. 3 times 6 is 18. Add your 0 behind it. Again, fourth graders, learning those multiplication facts is crucial. 5 hours would be the same thing as 300 minutes. And 7 hours would be the same thing as 420 minutes. So that was pretty simple and straightforward. I just used the measurement scale and I used the bottom one moving from hours to minutes. Now we're going to use the top one and we're going to convert minutes to seconds. Same thing, we're multiplying each one by 60. 1 minute would be the same as 60 seconds. Fill this in on journal page 49. Moving on to 4 minutes. 4 minutes would be the same thing as 240 seconds. 6 times 4 is 24, and then I add the 0 on at the end. 5 hours would be the same thing as 300 seconds. 6 times 5 is 30, and add a 0 on. 8 minutes would be the same as 480 seconds. 8 times 6 is 48. Add your 0 on. And lastly, 9 minutes would be the same thing as 540 seconds. So again, that one's pretty straightforward by just looking at the measurement scale at the top of your math journal. Now we're going to move on to number 3. This one looks similar, except for sometimes they might give you the minutes and ask you to convert it to hours. So we're going to start with number 3. We're working on hours to minutes. So I'm going to use this measurement scale. 600 minutes would be the same thing as 10 hours. Now, 15. It doesn't go up to 15, but I could use 10 and 5, which is 15. So 10 hours would be 600 minutes. And the 5 to make up 15 would be 300. 600 plus 300 is 900. So sometimes we have to use a combination of numbers on our measurement scale to make it work. Well, 21 hours, we don't have 21 on here. We could take 10 and do that twice, plus 1 hour. So 10 is 600. Another 10 is 600, which is 20. And then I need 1 more hour, which is 60 minutes. Go ahead and add that up, and you get 1,260. So notice I'm using a combination because my measurement scale doesn't go up that high. 40, well, would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of the 10 hours is represented by 600 minutes. Add those all up. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus 6 is 24. 2,400. Now for 60 hours, I know that 10 hours is the same thing as 600 minutes. So I could do that 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 50, 60. 60 hours. And watch what repeated addition really is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 6 plus 6. 6 times is the same thing as 6 times 6, which is 36, which is the same thing as 3,600. Next, we're going to convert from minutes to seconds. So I'm using the measurement scale that uses minutes to seconds. And remember that there are 60 seconds in every minute. Now, for those of you who say, oh, I know a shortcut, you could multiply by 6 and add a 0 on. I don't think we're there yet with our lesson, but if that's how you know how to do it, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I take 11. Well, our basic facts are 11s and 12s. 11 times 6 is 66. Or I could say, well, I have 10 up here. 10 minutes would be the same thing as 600 seconds. And then add 1 minute onto that, which is another 60. 660 seconds is the same thing as 11 minutes. 14 would be the same as taking 10 and 4. So 10 minutes is the same thing as 600 seconds, and 4 minutes is 240. This represents the 10 minutes. This represents the 4, which is 14. Add those together, and you get 840 seconds. The next one is 22, so I would go ahead and take 10 minutes, which is 600. Another 10 minutes, which is 20 altogether, and then add my 2, 120. So this represents 10 minutes, and 2 minutes for a total of 22. Altogether, it equals 1,200. I'm going to skip the next one for just a minute. I'll come back to it. Lastly, 30 minutes. It's just 10 3 times. So 10 minutes is 600 seconds, plus another 10, plus another 10, which is 30 minutes. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is the same thing as 6 times 3, which is 18. 1,800. I'm going to leave the last one for now. let's imagine I know it's more than 600 seconds. So 600 and 600 is 1,200. And I'm trying to get to 1,500. So this would be 10 minutes. This would be 10 minutes. And now I need to find where there's another 300 minutes to get me to 1,500. Here's another 300. So I'm going to add 5 to that. Add those all together. I get 1,500. 10 minutes plus 10 minutes plus 5 minutes is 25 minutes. Now in my video, I'm going to end here. There are some other problems on the bottom of this page and continuing on to page 50. I think I will work in small groups with you on that. Otherwise, go ahead and look in your Schoology folder and see what else you need to do for lesson 2-7.